Alright guys, welcome back to Days of Darkness, and welcome to my review for Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. This one came out in 2023. It is starring Nikolai Leon, Maria Taylor, and Craig David Dowsett, and was directed by Reese Frake Waterfield. Holy fuck. Damn, dude. This is not good. Like, at all. Wow. Wow. I know I'm a little late to the party on this one. I think we actually recently got a sequel to this film, which I don't understand how the fuck that happens, but hey, you know, more power to you, I guess. Damn, dude. This is not good. And I was hearing a wide consensus on that when this film first came out. Holy shit, this movie is not good. You know, they totally just took the Winnie the Pooh property and just did nothing with it. And it's just awful. And I saw little bits and pieces here and there. Nothing that really told me a narrative of any kind, even though I pretty much had, you know, it pegged down what this film was going to be. And I was just like, whoa, this looks rough. Like, I definitely came into this not surprised that it was bad. I pretty much figured it would be. But even for somebody who has those kind of expectations, man, this one was hard to get through. And that sucks, man. I don't... You know, when this film was first announced, either people were just shitting on the idea, or they were, you know, maybe mildly enthusiastic to see just what kind of shit we were going to get. Me, I always, you know, when shit like this is brought to the table, and bear in mind, this is coming from somebody who as a kid loved Winnie the Pooh. Fucking loved Winnie the Pooh. Even now, you know, with like Christopher Robin that came out a couple years ago, fucking adored that movie. I would consider myself a Winnie the Pooh fan. And so when this was announced, a lot of people who were all of a sudden just huge into fucking Winnie the Pooh were just shitting on this idea. And for me, as somebody who, you know, it's not like I'm watching the movies every day and reading the books and shit like that as a fucking grown adult, but I still do have a real soft spot for those characters. And so when this was announced, I kind of had a different reaction, because I'm someone who enjoys an artistic risk, and I enjoy something that sounds really unique. And the idea of bringing the, you know, the 100-acre wood and just plunging that shit into this dark, depraved slasher film, if done right, it sounds like it could be really cool. Unfortunately, it wasn't. And this movie fucking sucks. And I hate saying that, because you know, when shit like this comes out and people immediately shit on it without even seeing it, I want the filmmakers to prove them wrong. And I root for underdog movies, horror or not. And my God, just from the moment we got some screen grabs of it, and there was just no... I immediately kind of understood what this movie was going to be. You know, past that initial announcement, my enthusiasm for this just drastically went down. Saw some screen grabs. I was hearing some whispers, you know, when the movie initially came out. Obviously, I'm a little late to the party, as usual. God damn. It just got worse and worse and worse. And I was avoiding watching this for a long time. And then I was like, you know what? I do YouTube, and I'm sure people would like to hear what I think about this, so here we are. Just really, really bad. Really, really rough stuff. I will say, though, it opens with a really cool little animation. I'd say about a 3 to 5 minute animation, probably a little less. But really solid stuff. Like, if that were to have just been like a short animated thing, I really could have gotten behind it a little more, just telling the story of how, Christopher Robin met these anthropomorphic animals. I like how they refer to them as abominations. I thought that was cool because, if you, in the real world, were to run into some creatures like this, yeah, that's kind of fucked up. But, but yeah, man, and he befriends them, and they grow very close, this very, very tight-knit bond that they all share. And then eventually, Christopher Robin grows up. And it's not a Peter Pan situation, man. He gets older, he has to go to college, and he sort of just leaves them behind. And the animals are obviously very angered and heartbroken by this. Pooh especially, who is the closest to Christopher Robin. And, they start to starve to death because, Christopher Robin was the one bringing them food and, really helping them out. And they kind of turn to reliance on him. And eventually it gets to the point where they don't have any other choice and they have to fucking eat Eeyore. And they fucking eat him, like for real. And from there, that act of just the guilt of that, it just pretty much drives them insane with anger and heartbreak and all of this encapsulated in this very brief animated sequence. And, people will say what they will. I thought it was cool. And the entire time watching this, I was like, oh man, this is nice. But I just kept getting pulled back to what this movie actually is. And I'm like, fuck, man. Like, god damn it. And sure enough, the animation does end and the live action begins. And we get Christopher Robin bringing in his fiancée. And, he brings her to the 100-acre wood to, I guess, visit these animals. And I'm like, so you're telling me that at no point this guy... maybe he went far away for college. I know, I'm putting way too much thought into a fucking really bad Winnie the Pooh horror movie. Like, you're telling me he couldn't come back and visit every once in a while? He doesn't seem like he's that much older than college age in this. So I'm like, he couldn't have just come back every once in a while, said hi, something. But no, apparently this is the first time he's been here in a very long time. And he fucking is showing her around the place, and eventually they happen upon where the animals live. And he talks about how it looks completely different, and then it starts raining, and even at one point you see a little makeshift tombstone that they've made for Eeyore, I guess what's left of him after they ate him, and he's buried there, and they have his fucking tail pinned to this little wood plaque that's his tombstone. I'm like, that was pretty funny, in all honesty. But, yeah, man, eventually, they do happen upon Piglet and Pooh. No Tigger in this, no Owl, nothing like that. I don't know why they even bothered to show them in the animation, if they're just not here. But whatever, who knows? Maybe we're supposed to think they died too at some point. Who knows? Who really fucking cares? But yeah, man. Piglet eventually is able to get a hold of the fiancée. They snap her fucking neck. And then they kidnap Christopher Robin. And that kind of leads us into the bulk of the film. And it immediately dawns on me what I'm in for. Because, the acting is rough. Again, no budget horror. You're not really gonna get the best acting in the world. So, I can quell my expectations a little bit. But goddamn, it's rough. But, the biggest thing besides that is those fucking masks, man. Those fucking masks. I get it. No budget. You're working with what you got. I understand. But for God's sake, man, could we not put a little effort into it? You have Pooh, and he's supposed to be rabid now. They mentioned in that animation how they don't speak anymore, mostly because they're not going to pay for a mask with a moving mouth, with, Chucky-style puppeteering and shit like that. They just don't have the money for it, so they have sworn to not talk ever again, and they're going to fucking go back to their animalistic ways, and they're feral now, and they're eating people and shit. It's like, alright, let's use that. Let's actually make this worth a damn. Have Pooh kind of have roughed up a roughed up fucking coat of hair, still make him yellow, fine, whatever. But, like, really kind of make him look fucked up and just rabid and gross, have him fucking drooling or foaming. And yeah, it's a fucking cheesy ass slasher. Go crazy with it, man. Have him have a fucked up looking eye and shit. Like, really, really make something special here. And instead, they just bought a fucking mask from Immortal Masks. Which, shout out to Immortal Masks. They make some really, really fucking great shit. No smoke to them, obviously, but damn, dude. Like, really? They just bought the fucking mask from them and just slapped it on him. Put the guy, Craig David Dowsett, put him in some fucking overalls, and he's a big motherfucker. And yeah, that was it. Come on, man. And then you have Piglet, who's like, for some reason, the exact size of Pooh. Maybe you could explain that. Is it even really worth it? No. But, I like the idea of maybe have him still be, like, smaller. Maybe make him a skinnier, lankier fucking guy, Picked Pooh as, like, the alpha, That's why he's all fucking big and fat. And this guy is, like, all skinny and strung out, and he just kind of gets the scraps, Yeah, man, get creative with it, Use those original characters and do something cool. But instead, they just slap two fucking guys in masks that don't move for real. There are some moments where they CGI Pooh. They don't do shit with Piglet, but they kind of CG Pooh's face every once in a while to make him, angry or smile, and it's just his ears wiggle, and it's like, it just looks like shit. It's like, God, And again, I get it. No budget, but maybe just don't do the fucking movie. But anyway, the masks are really, really bad, and the thing that really sticks out to me, and what, the moments where it really sticks out just how bad they are, is, we have some pretty emotional moments between, Christopher Robin and Pooh, where, obviously they kidnap him and they're torturing him and shit, and there are moments where, Christopher Robin's crying, and I said the acting's pretty rough. I would say Nikolai Leon, who portrays Christopher Robin, easily is the best actor of this movie. I'm not saying it's any Emmy award-winning shit or anything like that, but I do think he does a really good job. And, he's crying, and he's fucking just in so much pain, mentally, emotionally, physically, at certain points in this film, and he's just, he's apologizing profusely to Pooh, and he's like, I'm so sorry, I should have never left you. And, there are moments where Pooh, like, just gets in this fucking rage, and he starts breaking everything in his little cabin, his little hut. But it's like, there's no emotion here. You'll have Christopher Robin like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. And he's fucking drooling and bleeding and shit. And then you just cut the Pooh, and he's just like, it's like, what the fuck? And like, they'll have a tear come out of his eye or whatever. But, like, god damn, man. It's just, there's some real potential here to at least make this an enjoyable movie. And they just, nope, sorry, fuck you. But anyway, we do get into the bulk of the film after that initial, 100 Acre Wood sequence, where we have these girls, these college-aged girls, and, you hear it all the time, from the cinema snobs, just nothing characters, there's nothing going for them, there's no backstory, there's no... and this is one of those cases where they are absolutely right. There's nothing there. There's nothing. The main girl we have, Maria, played by Maria Taylor, she tells the story throughout the film of how she was a victim of stalking, and they just kind of had these random scenes of this guy being a complete fucking creep towards her, and so she's basically mentally frazzled from that, and her friends are bringing her out on this vacation, to kind of, help her heal from all of this. Nothing to do with Pooh, nothing even remotely to do with the Christopher Robin Pooh thing going on. It's literally just there for the purpose of having people for Pooh and Piglet to kill. That's the only reason they're there. The only narrative reason why. And, you know, Maria, as far as writing, she gets the most love by far. There is virtually nothing I can say about these other characters besides the fact that two of the women are in a romantic relationship, and there's a scene with some, you know, obviously noticeable tension. You know, one of them lays out rose petals for the other one, and it's this very romantic thing, and there's just nothing there to, you know, latch onto, because you get like, like, oh, okay, maybe there's something going on here. Maybe they'll kind of pursue this throughout the movie. Nope. Just that one scene that ends up being completely fucking pointless, and there's nothing else with those characters at all. You have one girl who's kind of like an influencer, you know. It's just kind of a commentary, if you can even say that in this movie. But she's supposed to be a commentary, I guess, on, like, you know, social media influencers and shit, and she's like taking selfies in her bikini, and she's all hot and sexy and shit and fucking whatever. But yeah, then there's another girl there that wears glasses, and that is it. It's like there's just nothing there. There is nothing there at all. And, you know, it's like I said before with these slasher films, you don't need to have these characters be just the most in-depth people in the world. That's not necessary in all cases. I always say Friday the 13th Part 4 is the perfect example. Are those characters anywhere near, you know, award-winning level writing? No. But there's something with each and every one of them, and they're either extremely entertaining to watch on screen when Jason's not killing them, or they do have a little bit of backstory, and there's something with each and every single one of them, even if it's just little, to where it's like, okay, I can latch on to something. There's just nothing. There is nothing, and what we do get is just half-ass bullshit attempts at that. It's just, yeah, not good. And to be honest, guys, I could go on all day about, you know, some of the just piss poor stuff we get in this film. It's extremely disappointing, man, because I like to, you know, see these underdog films succeed. And, you know, obviously this one did get a sequel, which, if I'm not mistaken, it's supposed to be, it's in a universe where this film, the first Blood and Honey, is an actual movie in that universe, and it's just like, okay, they're just going crazy now. Which, hey, I will inevitably at some point check out the sequel, because, you know, I'm a sucker, and yeah. But, you know, I hope it's fun, I hope it's entertaining, and I hope it's better than this, because, wow. But anyway, I'm not gonna sit here and just go down every single little thing. If you want to watch the movie, watch it, but you kind of get where we go from here. Each girl is, you know, subsequently picked off one by one, and we will talk about the kills in this movie as well, which I will say is probably, besides that opening animation, that is probably my only positive in this film, is we do get some kick-ass kills. But, you know, before we get there, they're all picked off one by one. Eventually, the couple girls that are left do end up finding Christopher Robin. He's all tied up. Shout out to the scene, by the way, where, again, Pooh had that temper tantrum, and then he whips Christopher Robin with Eeyore's fucking tail, which was brutal. And then he brings out the dead skeletal remains of his girlfriend or fiance or whatever after, you know, they cook and eat her. And they fucking bathes Christopher Robin in her blood, and it's like, oh my god, they're really just going for it, which I can respect. But fuck, it's some brutal shit, man. Anyway, those girls eventually rescue Christopher Robin, and at some point he just separates from them, which I can't remember how that happens, but at some point he just separates from them. The two remaining girls get in a car. Pooh causes a fucking brutal car wreck. One of the girls is dragged out, and shout out to the scene where he just kind of drags her out, cuts away, cuts back, and he just has her head in his hands. I guess they ran out of special effects budgets or whatever, but that was kind of fun. Just like, here you go. Okay, that was funny. But yeah, man, he does end up dragging her out as well. We get a pretty fun little car explosion, and Christopher Robin ends up coming back into the scene, and just he's like, "Oh, I'm here again, I guess, whatever." Fucking, and he tries to convince Pooh. Finally, just one last ditch effort to get his friend back in the fucking. At some point, Piglet gets fucking killed, by the way. So it's just Pooh now, and Christopher Robin is pleading with him. He's like, please just stop the killing. I'll stay here. You can do whatever you want to me. Just please don't kill this woman that I don't know at all. But he's like, please don't. And Pooh swore to never speak again. He was so heartbroken from what Christopher Robin did to him and how he abandoned him. And you know what? He's like, fuck it. I'm going to speak. I'm going to say my first word in years and years. And it's supposed to be this big moment where it's like, oh my God, he said something. And he just goes, bleh. And I was like, huh? What? What did you say? And I Googled it because I'm like, no, what the fuck? What was this? And what the fuck did Winnie the Pooh say in Blood and Honey? And apparently it's supposed to be, you left. Didn't sound like that to me, man. It sounds like he just goes, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Whatever, dude. And he slits Maria's throat. And, Christopher Robin is just kind of like, oh my God. And Pooh just decides to not kill him. And he just stands there, and Christopher Robin just runs off. And that's it. Man, I know this one might be a little more brief than usual, but God, dude, I just don't know what to say other than that, man. This movie is just... It's a rough one, guys. It is a fucking rough one, man. If you're here for my recommendation, you won't get it here, man. The only thing I could really say is, if you're having like a little get together with your buddies and they're big, horror movie nerds like you, or they enjoy bad movies, throw it on. You guys will have some fun. But other than that, no. Do not, go into this looking for any sort of anything, because it's just not here, man. And again, I hate being negative because I know how hard films, even bad films, are to make, but I gotta call it like I see it, man. This was just not good. But that will do it for my review portion of the movie. But you know what we gotta do now, baby? We gotta get into the blood, the guts, and the gory bits. We gotta get into my Kill the Film. Stick around. This is easily going to be the most positive section of this review, because while this is not a good film at all, and I cannot recommend it, we get some pretty fucking kick-ass kills in here, man. If anything else, we get some pretty fucking gnarly kills in this movie. And you know me, big time gorehound. That's always gonna be a plus for me, no matter how fucking shit this movie is. First things first, one of the girls got lost on her way to the cabin, and she ends up wandering around and ends up running into Pooh. And then she runs into, I guess, this barn where there's a bunch of fucking work factory equipment and shit, and Pooh ends up getting a hold of her and rips her shirt off because tits, and ends up ramming her fucking face into the edge of this wood chipper before turning it on and just mulching this poor girl. And this is where I'll bring up the fact that we do get some really fun kills in here. Wish we didn't have the CGI blood. I wish that aspect of things There would have been more effort into the facial expressions for Pooh. Maybe give Piglet a little bit of love too. And focus on keeping the blood practical. Because yes, these kills are fun, but I will say it is hampered a little bit by the pretty cartoony looking CGI. But it is what it is. Moving on. I absolutely adore the scene where these good Samaritan ass motherfuckers pull over and try to help the girls, and then they run into Pooh. And they try their best to recreate the scene from Halloween Kills where they all just beat the fuck out of Michael and then he just comes back, which is exactly what happens here. But there was a moment where Pooh just stands up after they tire themselves out, and he just stands over this one guy. And they make Pooh look like he is like 9 feet fucking tall. It is ridiculous fucking shot. And then we get one of those like facial contortions where he's supposed to look angry. It looks fucking terrible. But then he just takes his hand and just judo chops this motherfucker's like face off. I'm like, what the fuck? And this other guy tries to punch him, and he chops his fucking hand off just with his fucking human paw hand. Just chops his fucking hand off. Good head stomp after that. We get a moment in the same scene where one of the guys is running away, and Pooh, and this is probably the scene that I think it got the biggest laugh for me. It's hard to say just because there was some rough fucking scenes that made me crack up. But the scene where this guy runs away and you just see Pooh use the honey force and just summon these bees, this swarm of bees, to fucking attack this guy and I guess sting him to death. It's fucking incredible, man. Come on. 2 kills that almost respectfully killed the film for me were the car for sure. You get the influencer girl, she's chilling out in the hot tub taking her little selfies and shit, yada yada yada. And then Pooh and Piglet end up kidnapping her, which I will shout out the scene where she takes one of the selfies and she can see Pooh in the reflection. Not the reflection, but you can see Pooh in the background of the selfie that she took, and eventually, the power starts fucking malfunctioning and shit, and she knows there's this guy, what really just looks like a guy in a fucking sinister ass costume is just standing there, and she's just like, nah, they're not gonna ruin my fun night. It's like, are you fucking stupid? Don't answer that. But really, like, what the fuck? Come on, man. But she ends up just going back in the hot tub. They chloroform her ass. They hog tie her. And then they end up running over her head with a fucking car. And, it is, again, no budget. So we do get cuts. And we see it's at one point where her eyeball has fucking popped out of her socket. And, her head's getting crushed and shit. And again, we get this spew of just awful looking CGI blood. But still, that was a pretty fun kill. And then one of the other girls ends up actually killing Piglet. Because it's one of the two who are in their... they were in, like, in a romantic relationship. And so, obviously, Piglet kills her girlfriend. So she's pissed off. And she ends up getting the upper hand and ties up Piglet. And just wails on him with this fucking hammer. We don't get any real good bloody gory shit, but she does end up killing Piglet, only to be stopped by Pooh. Too late for his little pig buddy, of course, but I shouldn't say little pig. Piglet's like fucking massive in this movie for whatever reason, but he does end up killing the girl, where he just takes her, pins her up against a telephone pole or whatever the fuck it's supposed to be, and just takes this machete and slowly just digs it into her fucking mouth. Oh my god, absolutely brutal. And damn near won my kill of the film. But her significant other easily had, I will say it had the kill that got the biggest reaction out of me. And it is my kill of the film. It is the young lady who foolishly does not get out of the pool. Just get the fuck out of the pool. But she doesn't. She tries to run away from Piglet, who's swinging this sledgehammer around. And eventually he does catch up to her. And when he does, man, he takes this sledgehammer and just knocks her fucking face off. And it looks sick too, man. Like, CGI blood aside, really, really good kill. Easily got the biggest reaction for me out of the entire fucking movie. Yeah, really, really solid kill there, man. And that is going to be my kill of the film. And yeah, I never have to talk about this movie again until eventually I end up, you know, being the sucker that I am and watch Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2 is what it's called. I'm like, you couldn't have just called it Winnie the Pooh something else besides Blood and Honey, but whatever, fuck it. Yeah, eventually, you know, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But until then, guys, thank you as always for stopping by. Thank you for supporting the channel, supporting this dream of mine. And next time on Days of Darkness, we are going to be continuing the Purge series when we look at the first Purge. So very excited to get into that one with you guys. But until then, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and for the love of all things gory, keep watching horror. Alright, guys, have a good day.